Hello there and welcome to Fun Fold Friday. Hey there. My name is Kimberly Kinnear and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Here's my website. So if you want to purchase anything you see today, you can find it there. And then you can also find me on Facebook at Creating with Kimberly. I post there daily things that I've been working on and everything. So today we are going to do an accordion fold. And we're going to do a version of this card. And it just opens up like that. I have plenty of samples to show you afterwards. I'm using the Splendid Autumn 6x6 Designer Series paper. These are the ones I'm using, but if you look at that, aren't they gorgeous? This is one of our returning favorites, so it will be available in our catalog until next April. Or I'm guessing after the new year if, well, supplies last. Okay, and because it's 6x6, let's just jump right in here. Because it's, here, let me show you this first. It's a 6x6 sheet of paper. So you have to, you need two pieces. Whereas if it's an 8.5 by 11, you would only need one, or a 12 by 12. Okay, let me put this out here. These are the dimensions for the card. You're going to cut it 5.5 by 11, and then you're going to score at 1 3/4, 3.5, 4 1/4, and 7. And so then when it's folded up, it'll look like an accordion, or if you want to say a W. There you go. Let's go ahead and get started. I think I'm going to cut my Designer Series paper first. And because it's a landscape, there's a couple of tricky little things. Not tricky, just things you want to pay attention to is the layout of the design or the landscape. Now, it's 5.5, so you need to cut this at 5 1/4. And so I've got both pieces here, and I'm going to measure it up. And I want, in my finished product, I want to keep the sky, so I'm going to cut off this little bit down here. So I'm going to cut off like 3/4 of an inch there. Do you see that? Okay. So I just did that. Then I'll separate the two pieces. And because remember we cut these at like 1 3/4 increments here, we want to cut the Designer Series paper at 1.5. Because then that way you'll have enough. So I've got that. There's my two panels. Ooh, darn, I think what I forgot, I'm going to have to find some basic beige. But there's my two. Now this piece is too small to lay on to this piece here. That's what the extra Designer Series paper is. Now, remember, you've got this piece here, then this piece there. So you want to flip it around and cut it at 4 inches. Because what you'll have left, let me show you this. Oh, can I pick it up? This piece here is going to be 4 1/4 by 5.5. And so see, you're going to want, that one's cut weird. So we'll figure that out later. So it looks like I do need to take off a little bit. Ooh, I was wrong. You want to take off, cut it down to 3 3/4 because this is a 4 inch. Let's see if I can, well, you're not going to see it up there. But yeah, it's 4 inches here. So it was, my bad. You want it at 4 3/4. So that's going to line up there. Oh, I might have cut off the wrong size, but let's see here. Let's cut off another 1/4 of an inch. There you go. Now we've got it. Now we've got it. Okay, so there's always something. Now we'll go to the cardstock. Now it's 8.5 by 11. So we're going to cut it at 5.5. So I'm measuring it, lining it up right there. Take my cutting blade, cut it down. We'll set this piece aside. Okay, now we're going to score. I'm going to set this over here so I can read off of it, and won't be making a mistake. We're going to score it. So I make sure my cutting blade is up top there. And I'll take my scoring blade and go at 1 3/4. Then I'm going to move it over to 3.5. And we got that. And then what's the next one? 5 1/4. There we go. And oops, let's pull the arm out for a 7-inch score. Okay. Oh, did you see that? I almost pulled the blade down. Make sure you're using your scoring blade. Boy, I need to clean that adhesive off my trimmer there. Okay, so now you're going to fold it. And you see, there's the score line. So I'm going to fold this one in. And I can never find where I put my bone folder. I should look for that again. Okay, so that one's folded. Now it folds this way. Then we're going to go back and forth. Remember those flowers we made in grade school where you'd fold back and forth? And so there I've got it, just like that. Now, add some adhesive. Okay, there we go. Doot. Nice line of adhesive. Doesn't that look gorgeous? Oh, I forgot to tell you. Oops. Now that's crooked, I think. And if I was really precise, I would line it up. But no, it's not crooked. I would, line it up with the measurements. Okay, now this is where the panel's going to go, which I don't seem to have here. So, whoops. Let's see. Then this one. I'll cut them. And now these strips, I don't know, did I tell you that? I cut it at, this is 1.5 by 4 1/4. Boom. Okay, come on. Some days I wonder about myself and adhesive, but I'm definitely in a better place. Now see, look at that. Doesn't that look gorgeous? And it does kind of line up like that. Let me see. Let me grab the, I think it's basic beige. Or would we want, I'm going to do white. I'm just going to pull out a piece of basic white cardstock. Well, actually, I only have French vanilla here, so we'll do French vanilla. Oops, wrong one. Okay, this is crazy. Oops, I found white. Okay, I'm back. Let's get this open and get me a piece of white out of it. It's brand new white. Packet, don't you just love that when you open up your first paper pack, the paper pack for the first time? Ooh, just love that smell of paper. Okay. So I'm going to cut it, I'm going to need it at 1.5, 1.5. So I'm just going to cut it down at 3. Hopefully that's on the screen there. And we're going to go to 5 1/4. Oop. And then to 1.5. I've been doing this for, good golly, well, over 25 years. So sometimes I can just whip it right out and other times I can't. Okay. We've got it. Now I'm going to put these in here. And some adhesive, maybe a little bit in the center. And then this piece, and it's nice to, let's see if do I have it on the screen? You want to just kind of eyeball line it up with your other edges there. Look at that. And some more. Whoops. And if you can see the score lines, that'll help you center it there. Okay. Now there's our card. Now isn't that pretty? Look at that. Just gorgeous. And when I wish I could set it up right so you can see how it sits up like when you display your cards that you receive. Okay, now what we're going to do is do a sentiment. And of course it's buried. Oh, where did I put it? Found it. Okay, and I pre-cut these with our, I should have wrote that down, but I have, it's a thin cut die. So I did Mossy Meadow and then our fresh Freesia and then, oh, these are very vanilla. Haha. Oh, well, that'll be okay. I'll just change it after the fact. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to use the Simply Said. I think this might be on the last chance thing. So, if you hop on, you might get it at a discount. Let me get my block out. Okay, I've got my block and just said. Now, does it frustrate you when you put your stamp on your block and it's crooked? You know, so if you want it on straight, I always take the acrylic and line it up on one of the lines here. See that? Just like that. So now when I take my block to it, I will make sure that it is lined up. See how it's lined up on that line? So now I know it's on straight. So when I go to make the impression, it's straight. Okay, Mossy Meadow stamp pad. Let's set that aside because I do tend to get very inky. And you always want to make sure that you've inked it properly. So I'm stamping off to the side. Looks great. Now this is very vanilla, but if it was just plain white on white, it could be tough to stamp on. So sometimes I'll put a colored piece of scrapbook down. I mean, scrapbook paper card, you know, cardstock. Okay, so I've got it inked up. Check that I don't have any ink on the block. Maybe and then, oops, that's not straight. And then I'm going to just stamp just a note like that. Bam. Okay, let's mount it. Now, sometimes when I'm layering, come on, always when I'm filming that it gives me a little trouble. And it's user, not the tape runner. Remember that. Sometimes I'll use dimensionals, but because it's already so thick and I will be mailing this. Oops, did I bump that? I'm not going to adhere this. Well, yeah, let's do it. There, boom. Or should I say bam? Okay, look at that. Now, when you are adhering it to your card, remember, it's going to be folded like this. So what you're going to want to do is make sure the adhesive's only on this side. So I always double check it because I have done it upside down before. And this is nice with this banner or pennant. You can line it right like that. And I want a little more of that white up there to pop up. Look at that. Doesn't that look gorgeous? Now we're going to use these sequins. They're called Starburst sequins, and they're new in the catalog or online, one of the two. And I'll use my pick a tool to pick it up. And then what I'm going to do here, I'm going to take one of the big ones. Come on. There it is. Look how easy that was today. And boom. And you always want to put your, sequins on in odd numbers. So I've got 3 there, and I'm not done yet because, you know, got to have some more. So I'm going to put 2 more down here. Yeah, I'm going to move that. I just kind of like them a little off. Well, oops, it's stuck under my finger now. There you go. Just a note for that special someone. That quick. So that's our Friday fun fold, and I will put the measurements back on here again. Look at that. Boom. Now let me show you some more. They're just gorgeous. This one also was made out of the Autumn Splendor. Look at that. See? Doesn't that look beautiful? Beautiful. Now I did this one, more of a masculine one. And this one is out of, I'm using the Weekend Adventurer. And, oh, let me show you this stamp set where these trees came from. Look at that. Yeah, and it's called Scenic Adventure. And it has these great dies in. I buy always a bundle, the stamp set and the thin cuts, because you get an extra 10% off. Look at these trees. They already come connected. There's some sky and mountains and grass, fire. Look at the moon and the stars there. It's just going to be fun. And I am going to have some fun with scrapbooking with this one. Okay, and so I just took the paper, and this die cut here is the same set that banner that I used today. And then I just, used a little bit of Winkostella just to pop those trees a little more. Isn't that great? Nice one. And remember, this is where you'll write your special note. Now, oh gosh, what is it? Beautiful Gallery. This is the next one. I think I may have showed you this one in the beginning. This one is a beautiful card, but look at that. Doesn't that look gorgeous? You know, how that three-dimensional. Now this one I left intentionally blank because I don't know if I'm going to need a sympathy card, a get well card, a happy birthday card. So that way I can just pull it out. Look at, I got something on there. Pull it out and just put the sentiment on here. This is one of my favorites, I think. This is also from that beautiful gallery that is brand new. And this one's just a note. Look at that. Doesn't that look beautiful? I hope I'm getting that on. There you go. So that is our Fun Fold Friday. I call it an accordion. I'm not sure if that's the exact name for it. Once again, let me put this out here. You're going to cut your cardstock 5.5 by 11. Score at 1 3/4, 3.5. I'm sorry, I keep bumping the camera there. 1 3/4, 3.5, 5 1/4, and 7. And then remember your designer paper. This one's going to be 5 1/4. Or let me show you the designer series paper, so that way you've got. Then the designer series paper. This one's going to be 5 1/4 by 3 3/4, and then your panels are 1.5 by 5 1/4. Isn't that gorgeous there? And again, I'll put this back out here. So that's my info there. And if you like what you see, you want to see more of it, give me a thumbs up, like my page, follow me, check out my Facebook. And I will see you back here next Friday with another fun fold. Have fun. Bye-bye.